The briefing room aboard the UNSC Infinity hummed with tension as holographic displays painted the walls with damning evidence. Captain Thomas Lasky stood before the assembled Spartans, ODSTs, and intelligence officers, his expression grim. Behind him, Roland's avatar flickered through documents, surveillance footage, and corporate records that told a story of systematic evil. Umbrella Corporation, Lasky began, his voice carrying the weight of discovery. On the surface, a pharmaceutical company. In reality, the largest bioweapons developer in this timeline's history. Since the 1960s, they've been experimenting with viral agents, creating biological weapons disguised as medical research. The displays shifted, showing laboratory footage, scientists in hazmat suits working with glowing viral samples, test subjects convulsing in observation chambers, and creatures that shouldn't exist shambling through containment facilities. Master Chief stood at attention among the Spartans, his eyes tracking every image. Beside him, Commander Palmer crossed her arms, her jaw tight with barely contained fury. Spartan Buck leaned against the wall, his usual humor absent. They'd all seen what Umbrella's work had created in Raccoon City, the thousands they couldn't save, the hundreds they could. Our extraction of Raccoon City survivors has given us invaluable intelligence, Lasky continued. Leon Kennedy provided police documentation. Claire Redfield shared communications from her brother Chris, who's been investigating Umbrella for years. And our own surveillance has confirmed what they suspected, Umbrella has facilities across the globe. Research stations, manufacturing plants, testing sites. All producing bioweapons. Roland zoomed in on specific locations. Umbrella's European headquarters in Paris. The Arclay laboratory where the T-virus was first developed. A training facility in Rockford Island. Manufacturing plants in Asia and South America. And their crown jewel, the Antarctic Research Facility, where they're developing something called the T-Veronica virus. Our mission is simple, Lasky said. We dismantle Umbrella. Completely. We destroy their research, eliminate their bioweapons, and ensure that what happened in Raccoon City never happens again. He paused, scanning the faces before him. But we have to do this carefully. We're operating in 1998, centuries before the UNSC exists. We can't reveal our true nature. We can't use technology that would raise questions. We have to operate in the shadows. Wet work, Palmer said quietly. Black Ops. Exactly, Lasky confirmed. We'll be ghosts. No UNSC insignia, no advanced weapons in public, no leaving evidence that would disrupt this timeline more than necessary. We use period-appropriate gear when exposed, save our real firepower for when we're behind closed doors. Chief stepped forward. What's our first target? Roland highlighted a facility in France. Umbrella's European headquarters maintains their primary research archives, decades of bioweapons development, viral strains, test results, and most importantly, their distribution network. If we capture those archives, we'll know every facility, every project, every scientist involved. We can dismantle them systematically. Security? Buck asked. Heavy, Roland admitted. Umbrella Security Service, former military, well-trained, well-armed. The Paris facility has approximately 200 personnel, including 50 combat-trained guards. Plus automated defenses, biometric locks, and, he paused, biological countermeasures. They keep bioweapons on site, Palmer translated. As guard dogs. Hunters, specifically, Roland confirmed, displaying footage of creatures that were part human, part reptile, all predator. Genetically engineered killing machines. Fast, strong, intelligent enough to follow basic commands. Claws that can slice through steel. We've seen what they can do. The Raccoon City outbreak included several hunter variants. Chief studied the creatures. Without MJOLNIR armor, even Spartans would be vulnerable to those claws. We'll need a strategy that minimizes direct engagement. Stealth insertion, Lasky agreed. Roland has been monitoring their patterns. They change security shifts at 0200 hours. We'll have a 15-minute window when their systems cycle and guard rotations overlap. You'll go in during that window, penetrate to their server room, extract the data, and exfiltrate before they realize what happened. And if they do realize? Silva asked from the back. Then you adapt, Lasky said simply. Chief, you'll lead a 6-person team. Palmer, Buck, and 3 ODSTs of your choosing. Pelican insertion 10 kilometers out, approach on foot. You'll be equipped with suppressed weapons, night vision, and demolition charges. If you can't extract the data remotely, you destroy the facility and everything in it. Palmer frowned. That's 200 people, sir. Even if they're Umbrella employees. You'll evacuate non-combatants before detonation, Lasky interrupted. We're not murderers. But that research cannot survive. Those bioweapons cannot reach the black market. Umbrella has been selling viruses to terrorists, dictators, and rival corporations. Every day they operate, more people die. The room fell silent. They'd all seen the casualty reports from Raccoon City. Conservative estimates put the death toll at 95,000. And that was just one outbreak. We deploy at nightfall, Lasky continued. You'll have 12 hours to complete the mission before Umbrella's next scheduled communication with their board of directors. After that, they'll know something's wrong and lockdown protocols will activate across all facilities. Chief turned to his team. Palmer, your breach specialist. Buck, demolitions. Silva, Crespo, Daima, you're with us as support. We gear up in 30 minutes. Study the facility layouts, memorize guard patterns, prepare contingencies. He looked each of them in the eye. This won't be like fighting Covenant. These are humans. Misguided, corrupt, dangerous humans. But humans. We show restraint where possible. We use lethal force when necessary. Questions? Just one, Buck said. After Paris, what's next? Lasky smiled coldly. After Paris, we have the roadmap to every Umbrella facility on Earth. We hit them fast, hit them hard, and we don't stop until Umbrella Corporation is nothing but a footnote in history. And the bioweapons they've already distributed? Palmer asked. We contain them, Chief said simply. One outbreak at a time. One facility at a time. Until this planet is safe. He turned toward the exit, his team falling in behind him. As they left the briefing room, Leon Kennedy appeared in the corridor, still wearing borrowed UNSC fatigues, his police instincts evident in his alert posture. Chief, Leon called out. I want in. On whatever you're planning. Umbrella killed my city. Killed people I swore to protect. If you're going after them. Chief stopped, regarding the young officer. Leon Kennedy had potential, that much was clear from how he'd survived Raccoon City. But this mission required skills beyond police training. Not yet, Chief said. But soon. We'll need people who understand Umbrella from the inside. People who can testify, who can convince this world's authorities to act. That's your mission, Kennedy. Survival wasn't enough. Now you have to make them listen. Leon nodded slowly, understanding settling in his eyes. And when you need someone who knows how to fight these things without fancy armor and future tech, you call me. Chief almost smiled. Count on it. As the Spartans disappeared into the armory, the war against Umbrella Corporation began in earnest. The Pelican descended through heavy cloud cover, its active camouflage rendering it invisible to 1998-era radar. Below, Paris stretched out in glittering lights, the Eiffel Tower illuminated against the night sky, the Seine River winding through the ancient city like a dark ribbon. Master Chief studied the approach through the troop bay window, his tactical mind cataloging details. No MJOLNIR armor tonight, just black tactical gear, body armor rated to stop small arms fire, and weapons that wouldn't raise questions if discovered. The MP-5SD submachine gun felt light in his hands compared to his usual MA-5D, but the suppressed 9mm rounds would serve their purpose. 2 minutes to drop zone, the pilot announced. Palmer checked her gear one final time: suppressed pistol, breaching charges, combat knife. Beside her, Buck secured his demolition pack while Silva, Crespo, and Daima performed final weapons checks with practiced efficiency. "Remember," Chief said quietly, "we're ghosts. No casualties unless absolutely necessary. Non-lethal takedowns preferred. We get in, get the data, get out." "And if we encounter hunters?" Silva asked. "We avoid them," Palmer answered. "Roland's tracking shows they keep the bioweapons in sub-level 3. We're targeting sub-level 5, the server room. Different areas entirely. Unless something goes wrong," Buck added helpfully. "Then we adapt," Chief finished. The Pelican flared, hovering 20 feet above a wooded area 10 kilometers from Umbrella's Paris facility. Ropes deployed, and the team fast-roped down into darkness. The moment their boots hit Earth, the Pelican vanished into the night sky, leaving them alone in hostile territory. Chief activated his night vision, civilian-grade optics, not the enhanced systems in his helmet, but sufficient for the task. The world turned green and grainy as he oriented on their target. Through the trees, he could see the facility, a modern office complex that looked innocent to casual observers, but Roland's scans had revealed reinforced walls, underground levels, and power consumption consistent with major research operations. "Move out," Chief whispered. Standard tactical column. Silent running. They advanced through the forest like wraiths, their Spartan training making them nearly invisible despite lacking active camouflage. Every step was deliberate, every movement calculated to minimize noise. Years of fighting the Covenant had taught them patience. 20 minutes of careful movement brought them to the facility's perimeter, a 8-foot fence topped with razor wire, security cameras sweeping in predictable patterns, and motion sensors spaced at regular intervals. "Roland," Chief sub-vocalized into his comm, "we're at the fence. Confirm security cycle." Roland's voice crackled through the earpiece. "Cameras are on a 90-second rotation. Motion sensors have a 3-meter blind spot at the northeast corner. You'll have 45 seconds to breach the fence and reach the building before the next sweep." "Copy." Chief turned to his team. "Palmer, breach the fence at my mark. Everyone else, through fast and low. Silva, you're jamming the motion sensors." Silva activated a small electronic device, disguised as a 1998-era pager but actually a localized EMP generator. The motion sensors flickered and died, their circuits fried. "Mark," Chief ordered. Palmer's bolt cutters sliced through the chain-link fence with practiced precision, creating a man-sized opening. The team flowed through in seconds, sprinting across open ground toward the building's service entrance. 30 seconds. They reached the door as cameras began their return sweep. Buck placed a shaped charge against the lock, small, precise, barely louder than a cough when it detonated. The door swung open. They were inside. The interior was sterile, corporate, white walls, fluorescent lighting, the hum of air conditioning. A far cry from the horror of Raccoon City, but Chief knew what lurked beneath this civilized veneer. "Schematics confirm stairwell access 50 meters ahead," Roland reported. "2 guards patrolling this level. They'll pass your position in 90 seconds. Chief hand-signaled his team into cover, behind reception desks, in doorways, weapons ready. They waited in perfect silence as footsteps approached. 2 Umbrella Security Service guards rounded the corner, automatic rifles slung casually, clearly not expecting trouble. They were talking quietly in French about weekend plans, completely unaware of the Spartans in the shadows. Chief emerged behind them like a ghost. 2 precise strikes, nerve clusters in the neck, pressure applied with surgical precision. Both guards dropped unconscious without firing a shot. "Bind and gag them," Chief ordered. "Storeroom to your left." Daima and Crespo dragged the unconscious guards away while Palmer secured the stairwell door. Clear. No additional contacts. They descended into Umbrella's depths. Sublevel 1, Administrative Offices, dark and empty. Sublevel 2, Research Laboratories, automated systems running unattended. Sublevel 3, the smell hit them first, something organic, something wrong. Through reinforced glass windows, they saw containment chambers holding things that had once been human. Jesus, Buck whispered, staring at a hunter sleeping in its cage. The creature was terrifyingly beautiful in its lethality, streamlined muscle, razor talons, intelligent eyes that tracked movement even in sleep. Keep moving, Chief ordered, though he catalogued every detail. These creatures would need to be destroyed before they left. Sublevel 4, Storage, shelves of viral samples, refrigerated units containing diseases that shouldn't exist. Daima photographed everything with a concealed camera. Sublevel 5, the server room. It was smaller than expected, a 20 by 20 chamber filled with computer servers, their cooling fans providing constant background noise. A single technician sat at a console, headphones on, completely absorbed in his work. Palmer moved like liquid shadow, crossing the room in heartbeats. Her hand clamped over the technician's mouth while her pistol pressed against his temple. "Don't move," she whispered in French. "Don't make a sound. Nod if you understand." The technician nodded frantically, eyes wide with terror. "Good. You're going to give me administrator access to these servers. You're going to be very helpful. Because if you're not, if you trigger any alarms, my friend here," she nodded toward Chief, "gets very unhappy. And you really don't want that." Buck was already connecting Roland's interface device to the main server. "Roland, you're live. Start the download." "Copy. I'm in their system. This is, wow. This is everything. Research data going back 40 years, facility locations, personnel files, financial records, communications with the board of directors. Chief, this is the entire Umbrella Corporation laid bare." "How long for complete download?" Chief asked. 12 minutes. Chief checked his watch. They'd been inside 8 minutes. Security shift change was in 7. It would be tight. "Palmer, keep our friend cooperative. Everyone else, defensive positions. We hold this room until Roland has everything." They settled into overwatch positions, weapons trained on the single entrance. Now came the hardest part of any operation, waiting while time ticked away and discovery loomed closer with every passing second. In the silence, Chief could hear his own heartbeat, steady and calm despite the danger. This was familiar territory, high-stakes missions, impossible odds, everything riding on perfect execution. Just another day for a Spartan. The alarm shattered the silence like breaking glass. Red lights flooded the server room as klaxons blared throughout the facility. The technician Palmer had subdued flinched, genuine surprise on his face. He hadn't triggered anything. Which meant someone else had. "Status." Chief barked. "Download at 60%, Roland reported, frustration evident in his synthesized voice. "We've been detected, but not here." Sublevel 3. Motion sensors in the bioweapons containment area just went active. Buck swore. The hunters. Something woke them up. Or someone let them out, Palmer countered grimly. She pressed her pistol harder against the technician's head. "Did you trigger a silent alarm? Some kind of deadman switch?" "No," the man gasped. "I swear. This isn't, we have protocols. Containment breach protocols. Someone opened the cages." Chief's tactical mind raced through possibilities. This wasn't random. Someone knew they were here and had released Umbrella's bioweapons as countermeasures. But who? They'd been silent, professional, left no trace. "Roland, can you override the containment doors? Seal sublevel 3. "Negative. They've initiated manual lockdown from a separate system. Chief, I'm reading 8 distinct thermal signatures moving through sublevel 3. They're spreading out. 2 are heading for the stairwell. Coming right toward them. Download status 70%. I need 4 more minutes. For minutes they might not have. Chief made his decision with the cold calculus that had kept him alive through decades of combat. Buck, Silva, take position in the stairwell. You're our line. Nothing gets past you. Daima, Crespo, cover the door. Palmer, stay on our guest. He moved to the server, ensuring Roland's connection remained secure. We hold this position. No matter what. Buck and Silva moved immediately, taking positions at the stairwell entrance with practiced efficiency. Through the doorway, they could hear it, the click-clack of talons on concrete, growing closer. And beneath that, something else. Breathing. Heavy, rhythmic, predatory. Contact, Silva whispered. 2 hunters, confirmed visual. The creatures emerged from the stairwell's shadows like nightmares given form. 7 feet of engineered killing perfection, their reptilian bodies moving with fluid grace despite their bulk. Exposed muscle tissue glistened beneath patches of scaled hide. Massive talons, each easily a foot long, scraped against concrete as they advanced. Their eyes fixed on Silva with terrifying intelligence. These weren't mindless infected. These were apex predators. Silva opened fire first, controlled 3-round bursts from his suppressed MP5, aiming for the head. The rounds found their mark, but the hunter's skull was reinforced, bone structure modified to deflect small arms fire. It shrieked, a sound like tearing metal, and charged. Buck triggered his shotgun, the suppressor doing little to quiet the massive boom. Buckshot caught the creature's center mass, shredding tissue, but it barely slowed. The hunter crossed 20 feet in 2 bounds, talons extended. Silva dove right, rolling beneath the strike. Talons that could slice through steel-gouged concrete where he'd been standing. Buck fired again, this time at point-blank range, the shotgun blast catching the hunter's exposed side. Organs ruptured, bone shattered, and the creature finally went down. The second hunter learned from the first. It feinted toward Silva, then pivoted with impossible speed toward Buck. Its talon strike was surgical, aimed not to kill but to disarm. Buck's shotgun went flying, sliced cleanly in half by razor claws. Little help here. Buck shouted, drawing his sidearm. Chief moved with Spartan speed, emerging from the server room with his MP5 already firing. He targeted the creature's legs, hamstrings, knee joints, ankle tendons. The hunter stumbled, its enhanced agility suddenly compromised. Silva capitalized instantly, driving his combat knife into the base of the creature's skull, the one weak point in their reinforced anatomy. The hunter spasmed and died. Stairwell secure, Buck reported, retrieving his ruined shotgun with a grimace. But that was loud. They know we're here now. Download at 85%, Roland updated. But Chief, we have a bigger problem. I'm detecting rapid movement throughout the facility. Guards are converging on your position. ETA 3 minutes. Palmer dragged the technician to his feet. Is there another way out of here? Yes. Emergency exits on each sublevel. They lead to a separate stairwell, exits in the parking structure. Roland, confirm, Chief ordered. Confirmed. Emergency stairwell on the east side. It's not on the main security grid, probably why Umbrella uses it for evacuation. You can reach it through the storage area on sublevel 4. We're moving, Chief decided. Daima, lead element. Crespo, rear guard. Palmer, bring our friend, he's our insurance. What about me? The technician asked desperately. You're leaving with us, Chief said. Umbrella just tried to kill you along with us by releasing bioweapons in an enclosed facility. You really want to stay? The man's face went pale as that reality sank in. They wouldn't. They did, Palmer said flatly. Welcome to learning what company you really work for. Now move. They abandoned the server room just as Roland confirmed 95% download. Close enough, they could reconstruct any missing data from what they had. Chief led his team back through Sublevel 5's corridors, moving fast but controlled. Behind them, they could hear boots on stairs, Umbrella security responding in force. And beneath that, more of the clicking talons. More hunters released from containment. They reached Sublevel 4's storage area, shelves of viral samples, refrigerated units, biohazard warnings on every surface. Chief made a snap decision. Buck, set charges. We're destroying this entire level. Music to my ears, Buck replied, already pulling explosives from his demolition pack. He moved through the storage area with practiced efficiency, placing shaped charges on support columns and refrigeration units. 5-minute timer enough? Make it 3, Chief countered. They needed to be clear before Umbrella security could defuse the charges. They found the emergency stairwell right where Roland indicated, a narrow passage with concrete walls and emergency lighting. They climbed, taking stairs 3 at a time, the technician struggling to keep pace. Download complete, Roland announced triumphantly. I have everything. Every file, every communication, every dirty secret Umbrella's kept for 40 years. Then let's get the hell out, Palmer said. They burst into the parking structure just as Buck's charges detonated below. The explosion was massive, shaped charges designed to collapse support structures doing exactly that. Sublevel 4 imploded, taking with it decades of viral research and biological weapons. Alarms throughout the facility reached fever pitch. Automated systems triggered sprinkler protocols, trying to contain fires. Guards poured into the parking structure, weapons raised. Chief's team was already moving toward the perimeter fence, the technician between them. Gunfire erupted, Umbrella security shooting to kill. Pelican, this is Chief. Emergency extraction, parking structure, now. The night sky split open as the Pelican descended, active camouflage failing in the facility's floodlights. To the Umbrella guards, it appeared from nowhere, an aircraft design they didn't recognize, moving with impossible grace. Its door guns opened up, suppressive fire driving guards into cover. Go, go, go. Palmer shouted, shoving the technician toward the hovering Pelican. Ropes dropped, and they climbed with Spartan speed. Chief was last up, providing cover fire as the Pelican gained altitude. Below, Umbrella's Paris facility burned, their secrets stolen, their bioweapons destroyed. As they cleared the perimeter, Chief allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. One facility down. Dozens more to go. The debriefing room aboard the Infinity felt charged with electricity as Roland projected the stolen data across every available surface. Captain Lasky stood at the center of a hurricane of information, facility layouts, personnel files, financial records, communication logs, 40 years of Umbrella Corporation's darkest secrets laid bare in holographic detail. Master Chief stood at parade rest, his tactical gear still showing signs of the Paris operation, scorch marks from the explosion, concrete dust on his boots. Beside him, Commander Palmer nursed a minor laceration on her forearm while Buck examined his destroyed shotgun with theatrical mourning. Gentlemen, ladies, Roland began, his avatar practically vibrating with excitement, what we've obtained is nothing short of a complete intelligence coup. I now have access to every Umbrella facility worldwide, their entire research history, financial transactions with criminal organizations, and, most importantly, their future plans. Lasky leaned forward. Show me the facilities. The holographic display shifted, revealing a global map dotted with red markers. Europe, Asia, Africa, North and South America, even Antarctica, Umbrella's reach was staggering. 73 facilities across 6 continents, Roland reported. Research laboratories, manufacturing plants, testing facilities, and storage depots. Some are official umbrella properties. Others are shell companies and front organizations. But they're all connected to the same bioweapons program. 73, Palmer breathed. That's not a corporation. That's a global network. It gets worse, Roland continued, highlighting specific facilities. Many of these locations are in remote areas, places where oversight is minimal and regulations don't exist. The Arkley laboratory where this all started is hidden in mountains outside Raccoon City. They have a facility on Rockford Island that doubles as a private prison. The Antarctic base is completely isolated, perfect for unrestricted research. Chief studied the map with tactical precision. We can't hit them all simultaneously. We don't have the resources. Agreed, Lasky said. We need to prioritize. Roland, sort by threat level. The display reorganized, facilities color-coded by danger. Several turned deep crimson. Priority Alpha targets, Roland announced. First, the Arkley laboratory. This is where the T-virus was developed and where the original outbreak occurred before spreading to Raccoon City. It's supposedly abandoned after a STARS team investigated, but my data suggests otherwise. Umbrella maintains a skeleton crew for ongoing research. What kind of research? Buck asked. Advanced bioweapons. They're attempting to create more controllable variants of the Tyrant series. Less aggressive, more obedient, suitable for military applications. Roland paused. They've had limited success. Controlled Tyrants, Palmer said flatly. Because regular Tyrants weren't nightmare fuel enough. Priority Bravo, Roland continued, highlighting South America. A facility in the Amazon rainforest conducting plant-based bioweapon research. They're attempting to splice the T-virus with various flora species to create environmental weapons, forests that actively attack intruders, plants that spread infection. Botanical bioweapons, Lasky mused. Creative and horrifying. Priority Charlie, Rockford Island. This facility serves dual purposes, private prison for Umbrella's enemies and a training center for their paramilitary forces. They're developing human enhancement viruses here, attempting to create supersoldiers without the uncontrollable mutations. Chief's attention sharpened. Supersoldier programs always interested him, given his own origin in the Spartan 2 program. Success rate? 10% survival, and those who survive experience significant mental degradation. Most become violent, unstable. Umbrella considers this an acceptable trade-off. The room fell silent at that casual disregard for human life. And finally, Roland said, his tone shifting to something almost ominous, Priority Delta, the Antarctic Research Facility. This is Umbrella's crown jewel, their most advanced installation. It's where they're developing the T. Veronica virus. The display zoomed in on Antarctica, showing a massive facility buried beneath ice. Thermal scans revealed multiple sublevels, extensive power generation, and, disturbingly, areas registering extreme cold even by Antarctic standards. What makes T. Veronica different from standard T-virus? Chief asked. Everything, Roland replied. The T-virus reanimates dead tissue and creates mindless infected. T. Veronica is designed to enhance living subjects while maintaining their intelligence and self-control. It's supposed to be the perfect bioweapon, all the strength and regeneration with none of the loss of higher brain function. Has it worked? Palmer asked. Unknown. The data suggests they've had one test subject who successfully bonded with the virus 15 years ago. But that subject was placed in cryogenic suspension for extended observation. Whether they've continued testing or if that original subject is still viable, I don't know. Lasky pulled up personnel files. Who's running these facilities? We need to know who we're up against. Faces appeared, dozens of scientists, executives, and security personnel. Roland highlighted key individuals. Dr. William Birkin, lead researcher on the T-virus and later the G-virus. Genius-level intellect, completely amoral. Currently working at a facility beneath Raccoon City proper. Yes, there's another umbrella lab under the city even after the outbreak. He's attempting to create a virus that allows for controlled evolution. Another face, Albert Weskier, former captain of the STARS team, actually an umbrella agent who betrayed his teammates. He's been injected with an experimental virus that grants enhanced speed, strength, and regeneration. Currently his whereabouts are unknown. He went dark after the Arkley incident. Chief studied Weskier's file. Enhanced abilities, superhuman reflexes, combat training. This was someone who could potentially match a Spartan in combat. Flag him as priority. If he surfaces, I want to know. Alexia Ashford, Roland continued, showing a photograph of a young woman with aristocratic features. Child prodigy who created the T. Veronica virus at age 10. She was the test subject placed in cryogenic suspension. Her brother Alfred runs Rockford Island and is obsessed with reviving her. 10 years old, Palmer said quietly. She created a bioweapon at 10 years old. Umbrella recruits them young, Buck muttered. Nature versus nurture gone horribly wrong. Lasky studied the intelligence with a commander's eye for strategy. We can't approach this like a military campaign. Umbrella operates in shadows, uses proxies, hides behind corporate structures. If we come at them with direct force, they'll scatter and we'll spend years hunting stragglers. We need to cut off the head, Chief said. Identify key personnel and facilities that, if eliminated, would cause the entire organization to collapse. Roland highlighted 3 locations. The Antarctic facility houses their most advanced research. Rockford Island trains their paramilitary forces. And, he paused, Umbrella's executive training facility in Europe, where they indoctrinate new leadership. Take those 3, and you've gutted their research capability, their enforcement arm, and their future recruitment. 3 simultaneous strikes, Lasky said slowly. Spread our forces thin, but maximum impact. We have the Spartans, ODSTs, and now knowledge of Umbrella's capabilities, Palmer argued. We can do this. Chief shook his head. Not just us. We need allies. People from this timeline who understand Umbrella's methods, who can navigate 1998's legal and political systems. You're thinking of the Raccoon City survivors, Lasky guessed. Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, the STARS members who survived Arkley, they've been fighting Umbrella longer than we've been in this timeline. They know how these people think. Chief turned to face Lasky directly. We bring them in. We train them, equip them, and we coordinate strikes that Umbrella won't see coming. Buck grinned. We're building an army. We're building a resistance, Chief corrected. This isn't about conquest. It's about stopping a threat before it metastasizes beyond control. Lasky considered the proposal, weighing risks against potential gains. Finally, he nodded. Do it. Recruit whoever you need. But Chief, they can't know the full truth. Not about the UNSC, not about the 26th century, not about slipspace or the Covenant or any of it. As far as they're concerned, we're a Black Ops unit with advanced equipment. Nothing more. Understood, sir. You have 72 hours to prepare your teams. Then we strike. 3 targets, 3 teams, simultaneous operations. We show Umbrella that their secrets aren't safe, their facilities aren't secure, and their time is running out. Chief nodded once, crisp and military. As he left the briefing room, his mind was already racing through tactical calculations, team compositions, equipment requirements, insertion methods. Behind him, Roland continued displaying Umbrella's stolen secrets, each revelation more damning than the last. The war against bioterrorism was escalating. And Master Chief intended to win it decisively. Leon Kennedy stood on the Infinity's observation deck, staring at Earth through reinforced windows that shouldn't exist. The planet hung below like a blue marble, peaceful and beautiful, a stark contrast to the horrors he'd witnessed in Raccoon City just days ago. Beautiful, isn't it? Leon turned to find Master Chief approaching, still without his armor, wearing standard UNSC fatigues that somehow made him look even more imposing. Without the helmet, Leon could see the man's face, surprisingly young despite the hardness in his eyes, the kind of hardness that came from seeing too much combat. "I still don't understand any of this," Leon admitted. "This ship, your technology, the way you fight. You said you're military, but no military I've ever heard of operates like this." "Classified," Chief said simply. "But you don't need to understand where we're from to understand what we're fighting. You've seen what Umbrella's capable of. You've seen the infected, the bioweapons, the complete disregard for human life." Leon's jaw tightened. "I watched my city die. Watched people I swore to protect turn into monsters. Watched the government nuke it all to cover up Umbrella's crimes." He turned to face Chief directly. "So yeah, I understand what we're fighting. Question is, what do you want from me?" "We're putting together a team," Chief explained. "People who fought Umbrella, who survived when others didn't. People with skills, determination, and most importantly, personal stakes in seeing this through. You're recruiting me. If you're willing." Chief moved to the viewport, looking down at Earth. "We have intelligence on every Umbrella facility worldwide. We have the resources to strike them, the training to succeed. But we need people who understand how Umbrella operates from ground level. Police officers, soldiers, civilians who've survived outbreaks, they see patterns we might miss." "What kind of operations are we talking about?" Leon asked carefully. "Infiltration, sabotage, rescue operations, targeted strikes against key facilities." Chief met Leon's eyes. "Dangerous work. High casualty probability. But necessary work. Every day Umbrella operates, more people die. More bioweapons get developed. More outbreaks become inevitable." Leon was quiet for a long moment, processing. He thought about Raccoon City, about the rookie cop he'd been just days ago, excited for his first day, ready to serve and protect. That Leon Kennedy had died in the streets alongside 95,000 others. The man who'd emerged from that nightmare was someone different. Someone harder. "What about justice?" Leon asked finally. "Legal proceedings, trials, holding these people accountable through the system?" Chief's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes, something that looked like regret. "In a perfect world, yes. But Umbrella has corrupted the system. They have politicians in their pocket, judges on their payroll, evidence that mysteriously disappears. The government just nuked an American city to hide Umbrella's crimes. You really think the legal system will hold them accountable? So we're above the law?" Leon challenged. "We're outside it," Chief corrected. "We operate in the spaces where law enforcement can't reach. We do what's necessary to save lives. And when we're done, when Umbrella's dismantled, then we hand over evidence to authorities who might actually do something with it." Leon turned back to the viewport, wrestling with the decision. He'd become a cop because he believed in justice, in the system, in doing things the right way. But Raccoon City had taught him that sometimes the system failed. Sometimes the people in power chose convenience over righteousness. "If I do this," Leon said slowly, "I do it my way. No unnecessary casualties. We evacuate civilians before destroying facilities. We give people chances to surrender. I won't become what I'm fighting against." "Agreed," Chief said without hesitation. "That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. We're not executioners. We're soldiers fighting a war against an enemy that uses civilians as shields and test subjects. We show restraint where possible, force when necessary." Leon extended his hand. "Then I'm in." Chief shook it, his grip firm and certain. "Report to Commander Palmer in the training deck. She'll get you started." Across the ship, in a small quarters that had been converted into living space for Raccoon City survivors, Claire Redfield cleaned a pistol with practiced efficiency. She'd learned weapons handling from her brother Chris, but recent events had given her crash course expertise in combat. A knock at her door interrupted the routine maintenance. "Come in," she called without looking up. Master Chief entered, having to duck slightly to clear the doorframe. Claire looked up, setting the pistol aside but keeping it within reach, old habits from Raccoon City dying hard. "Ms. Redfield," Chief greeted formally. "Just Claire," she corrected. "Ms. Redfield makes me sound like my mother." Chief nodded, accepting the correction. "I'll get straight to the point. We're assembling a team to take down Umbrella Corporation. Your survival skills, your determination, and your personal connection to this fight make you an ideal candidate." Claire laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I'm a college student who survived one outbreak through luck and stubbornness. I'm not a soldier." "Neither were most of the survivors we pulled out of Raccoon City," Chief countered. "But you've proven something more valuable than training: adaptability. You survived when 95% of the city's population didn't. That takes more than luck. It takes watching people die while I run away," Claire said bitterly. "It takes leaving people behind because saving them would mean dying myself. Real heroic." Chief sat down across from her, a gesture of respect, putting himself at her eye level. "Survival isn't cowardice. It's the first requirement for eventually making a difference. You can't help anyone if you're dead. That's what they teach you in whatever special forces unit you're from. That's what experience teaches everyone who lives long enough to learn it." Chief leaned forward slightly. "Your brother Chris, you're trying to find him, right? According to our intelligence, he's been investigating Umbrella for months. He's probably already assembling his own team to take them down." Claire's head snapped up. "You know where Chris is? We have leads. Umbrella's files reference STARS members who've become problems for them. Your brother's name appears frequently." Chief pulled up a datapad showing intelligence reports. "He was last seen in Europe, tracking down a lead on Umbrella's headquarters. If we coordinate with him, share intelligence." "I'm in," Claire interrupted. "Whatever you need. Training, missions, whatever. Just help me find Chris." "Deal," Chief agreed. "But understand, this isn't just about finding your brother. Once you're part of this team, you're committed. The training is intensive, the missions are dangerous, and the enemy won't hesitate to kill you." Claire met his eyes with steel in her own. "The enemy already tried to kill me. They failed. And I've got news for Umbrella: I learn fast." Chief almost smiled. "Report to the training deck. Commander Palmer will assess your skills and design a training regimen. You've got 72 hours before our first operation." "What's the target?" Claire asked. "Arkley Laboratory. Where this all started. Where your brother's team first encountered Umbrella's bioweapons." Chief stood to leave. "We're going to burn it to the ground and make sure it can never produce another monster." After Chief left, Claire returned to cleaning her pistol, but now her hands moved with purpose rather than routine. She was going to find Chris. And along the way, she was going to make Umbrella pay for every life they destroyed. In the Infinity's medical bay, Chief found Jill Valentine undergoing treatment for chemical exposure sustained during Raccoon City. The former STARS member looked up as he approached, her instincts immediately identifying him as military despite his unmarked fatigues. "Let me guess," Jill said, her voice hoarse from smoke inhalation. "You're here to recruit me for some kind of super-secret anti-Umbrella task force." Chief raised an eyebrow. "How did you?" Leon and Claire aren't exactly subtle. Word travels fast on a ship this size. Jill sat up, ignoring the doctor's protests. "I'm in. Whatever you're planning, whoever you really are, I'm in. Umbrella killed my teammates, destroyed my city, and tried to kill me at least a dozen times. I owe them. This isn't about revenge," Chief warned. "No," Jill agreed, her eyes hard as diamonds. It's about justice. About making sure what happened to Raccoon City never happens again. About stopping monsters, both the biological kind and the human kind wearing suits. Chief studied her. Jill Valentine had a reputation, one of the best STARS members, expert in bomb disposal and lockpicking, survivor of both the Arkley Mansion incident and Raccoon City. She was exactly the kind of operative they needed. You understand this is off the books, Chief said. No official sanction, no government oversight. We're operating in shadows. Good, Jill replied. Because Umbrella operates in shadows too. Time we drag them into the light. She paused. I have one condition though. Name it. Chris Redfield, Claire's brother, my former partner. He's out there somewhere hunting Umbrella alone. We find him, we bring him in. He's the best tactical mind I've ever worked with, and he knows Umbrella better than anyone. Already on our priority list, Chief confirmed. Our intelligence suggests he's in Europe investigating Umbrella's headquarters. We'll coordinate with him before our next major operation. Jill extended her hand. Then we have a deal. Chief shook it, recognizing the same determination he'd seen in countless soldiers throughout his career. Jill Valentine wasn't just a survivor, she was a warrior who'd found her cause. Training deck, 72 hours, Chief said. Be ready. I was born ready, Jill replied. Captain Lasky watched from the observation deck as Chief moved through the ship, recruiting survivors one by one. Each conversation was brief, efficient, and ultimately successful. Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Jill Valentine, all bringing unique skills and perspectives to the growing team. Commander Palmer appeared beside him. Think this will work? Mixing our people with theirs? Chief seems confident, Lasky said. And his instincts have been proven right more times than I can count. They're civilians, Palmer argued. College students and rookie cops and they're survivors, Lasky interrupted. They've faced bioweapons without armor, without advanced weapons, without backup. They survived through skill and determination. With our training and equipment, they'll be formidable. Palmer nodded slowly, accepting the assessment. The Spartans will need to hold back during joint training. Can't have them accidentally hurting our recruits. Chiefs already briefed them. They'll adjust. Lasky pulled up tactical displays showing their targets, Arkley Laboratory, Rockford Island, Antarctica. 72 hours until we strike. Make sure everyone's ready. What about the moral implications? Palmer asked quietly. We're recruiting people from this timeline, putting them in harm's way, potentially changing the course of their history. We're giving them a chance to fight back, Lasky countered. Against an enemy that would otherwise destroy countless lives. The moral implications of doing nothing are far worse. Palmer couldn't argue with that logic. She'd seen the files, read the reports on Umbrella's planned bioweapons programs. If left unchecked, the death toll would reach millions. 72 hours, she repeated. I'll make sure they're ready. As Palmer left to begin training preparations, Lasky remained at the viewport, watching Earth turn slowly below. Somewhere down there, Umbrella Corporation continued their research, continued developing bioweapons, continued threatening innocent lives. But now they had enemies they couldn't anticipate. Spartans from the future, armed with intelligence that exposed every secret, every facility, every weakness. The war against bioterrorism was about to escalate dramatically. And Umbrella Corporation had no idea what was coming. The Infinity's training deck had been reconfigured into a combat simulation facility that would have looked impossible to 1998 observers. Holographic projectors created environments, urban streets, laboratory corridors, forest terrain, with such fidelity that they felt real. But for the current training exercise, Palmer had chosen something brutally simple, a kill house designed to teach room clearing and close-quarters combat. Leon Kennedy stood at the entrance, wearing tactical gear that felt simultaneously familiar and alien. The body armor was lighter than anything he'd trained with in the police academy but somehow felt more protective. The weapon in his hands, an M4 carbine, was period appropriate, but modified with superior optics and ergonomics. Nervous? Claire Redfield asked beside him. She wore similar gear, her college student casualness replaced with focused intensity. Terrified, Leon admitted. I'm about to run drills with actual supersoldiers. You? Same. Claire checked her weapon with practiced efficiency. Chris had taught her well. But I figure if I survived Raccoon City with a handgun and good luck, training with proper equipment should be easier. Jill Valentine joined them, already looking comfortable in tactical gear. Her STARS training was evident in how she moved, economical, efficient, every motion serving a purpose. Remember, they're testing us but also teaching us. Don't try to impress them. Just do it right. The kill house door opened, and Commander Palmer emerged. Behind her stood Spartan Buck, serving as assistant instructor for this training cycle. Listen up, Palmer began, her voice carrying authority earned through decades of combat. This exercise is designed to assess your current capabilities and identify areas needing improvement. You'll clear rooms in 3-person teams, engaging hostile targets while avoiding civilians. Your performance determines your role in upcoming operations. No pressure, Leon muttered. Palmer either didn't hear or chose to ignore the comment. Kennedy, Redfield, Valentine, your team won. Buck will observe and provide immediate feedback. Engagement rules: 2-shot center mass, confirm your target before firing, communicate constantly. Questions. Rules of engagement for wounded hostiles. Jill asked. Treat them as active threats until confirmed neutralized, Palmer answered. Umbrella's bioweapons don't stop from injury. Assume anything moving is dangerous. The 3 recruits exchanged glances, then nodded. They'd all learned that lesson the hard way in Raccoon City. Begin on my mark, Palmer said, stepping back. 3, 2, 1, execute. Leon took point, pushing through the door into simulated darkness. His weapon light cut through shadows, revealing a corridor lined with doors. Behind him, Claire and Jill stacked up, weapons ready. Left door, Leon called, approaching methodically. Right side clear, Jill confirmed, checking angles. Leon breached, flowing into the room with his carbine up. 2 holographic figures appeared, one armed, one cowering. Training kicked in. Leon's shots caught the armed target center mass. The hologram flickered and disappeared. Clear, he called. They moved to the next room. Claire took point this time, demonstrating the lessons her brother had drilled into her. She cleared corners with textbook precision, identifying threats without hesitation. But the third room was different. Claire pushed in and froze. The hologram wasn't a simple armed target or civilian, it was a hunter. The same creature they'd fought in Raccoon City, rendered in perfect detail by the Infinity systems. It lunged with terrifying speed. Claire's training broke down. Instead of shooting, she stumbled backward, muscle memory from Raccoon City screaming at her to run. The simulation ended as the holographic hunter's claws reached her. Freeze! Palmer called. The holograms disappeared. Claire stood in the empty room, breathing hard, her weapon lowered. Leon and Jill entered, concern evident on their faces. Buck stepped forward, his usual humor replaced with instructor professionalism. What happened, Redfield? I froze, Claire admitted, shame in her voice. I saw that thing and I just... You reverted to trauma response, Buck interrupted, not unkindly. You survived Raccoon City by running from hunters because you didn't have the firepower to fight them. That's smart survival instinct. But it's the wrong instinct for this situation. He manipulated a control, and the hunter hologram reappeared, frozen mid-lunge. Look at it, Buck ordered. Really look. What do you see? Claire forced herself to study the creature. Enhanced musculature, reinforced bone structure, razor talons. Weaknesses, Buck interrupted. What are its weaknesses? Claire's tactical mind, buried under trauma, started working again. Exposed joints. Vulnerable skull structure at the base of the neck. Limited peripheral vision due to forward-facing eyes. Exactly, Buck confirmed. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's designed to kill. But it's also a biological organism with biological vulnerabilities. You can kill it if you know how. He reset the simulation. Again. This time, when you see it, you don't freeze. You identify the weakness and you exploit it. Understand? Claire nodded, reloading her weapon. Understood. The simulation ran again. This time, when the hunter appeared, Claire didn't freeze. She fired, controlled pairs targeting the creature's exposed neck structure. The hologram flickered and died. Better, Buck approved. Again. They ran the drill 20 more times. Each iteration, Palmer and Buck added complications, multiple targets, civilian hostages, environmental hazards. Each time, the recruits improved, their movements becoming more synchronized, their communication more efficient. By the end of the session, all three were exhausted but noticeably more capable. Palmer gathered them for debrief. Assessment: Kennedy, you have good instincts and solid fundamentals. You need work on aggressive movement, you're still thinking like a police officer trying to de-escalate. Against Umbrella, hesitation kills. Redfield, you learn fast and adapt well once you overcome initial psychological barriers. We'll work on trauma management techniques. Valentine, you're the most experienced. Your skills just need refinement and updating to counter bioweapon threats specifically. When do we go operational? Jill asked. 48 hours, Palmer answered. We're hitting Arkley Laboratory. Chief will brief you on the full operation tomorrow. Until then, you train. 8 hours daily, rotating through combat skills, weapons qualifications, tactical movement, and bioweapon identification. What about sleep? Leon asked. Buck grinned. Sleep is for people who aren't fighting a global bioterrorism conspiracy. You'll sleep when Umbrella's destroyed. He's joking, Palmer clarified, shooting Buck a look. You get 6 hours nightly. Your bodies need recovery time. But every other waking hour, you train. Questions? Just one, Claire said. Master Chief, where's he training? Palmer smiled slightly. Chief doesn't train with recruits. Chief trains Spartans. Would you like to watch? They absolutely would. The Spartan training bay was on a different deck, larger, more reinforced, designed to withstand super-soldier exercises that would destroy normal facilities. Leon, Claire, and Jill watched from an observation gallery as Master Chief led Fireteam Osiris through combat drills. Without MJOLNIR armor, the Spartans looked almost human. But the moment they moved, the illusion shattered. Spartan Locke cleared a room in under 2 seconds, his movements too fast to track clearly. Tanaka executed a combat roll that covered 15 feet, came up shooting, and hit 6 targets with 6 rounds before gravity fully reasserted itself. Vale moved through obstacles like water, flowing around barriers without slowing. And Chief moved like death itself. Economical, precise, overwhelming. He engaged 12 holographic targets in 3 seconds. 12 shots, 12 kills, not a single wasted motion. Jesus Christ, Leon whispered. And he's doing this without the armor. This is them holding back, Palmer said from behind them. She'd followed to observe their reactions. With MJOLNIR armor and full enhancement, they're exponentially more capable. But even like this, they're the most dangerous humans alive. How do we train with them? Claire asked. We're not anywhere close to that level. You don't train with them, Palmer corrected. You train alongside them. They teach you what they can, you learn what you're capable of, and together you form a team that combines their capabilities with your knowledge. Spartans are warriors. You're survivors who understand Umbrella. Both skill sets are necessary. Jill watched Chief move through another drill, this one against holographic hunters. He killed 5 in the time it had taken Claire to kill 1. He's been doing this a long time, hasn't he? The way he moves, that's not just training. That's experience. Palmer's expression became unreadable. Chief has been a soldier longer than you've been alive. He's fought enemies you can't imagine in battles that never made it into history books. What you're seeing is decades of experience distilled into pure efficiency. And we're supposed to keep up with that? Leon asked. You're supposed to survive, Palmer corrected. Chief and the other Spartans will handle the heavy combat. Your job is intelligence gathering, survivor extraction, and providing ground-level perspective that even Spartans might miss. You don't need to be super soldiers. You need to be smart, adaptable, and determined. Below, Chief finished his drill and looked up at the observation gallery. Even from a distance, his gaze was intense, assessing, calculating, measuring their readiness. Claire straightened unconsciously under that gaze. 48 hours until Arkley. 48 hours, Palmer confirmed. Use them wisely. Because once we're operational, there are no second chances. Umbrella doesn't take prisoners, and their bioweapons don't show mercy. As they left the observation deck, Leon couldn't shake the feeling that they were being prepared for something far larger than a single facility strike. This wasn't just about Arkley Laboratory. This was about declaring war on Umbrella Corporation. And for the first time since Raccoon City, Leon Kennedy felt something other than trauma and survivor's guilt. He felt hope. The Pelican cut through pre-dawn darkness, flying nap of the Earth to avoid radar detection. Inside the troop bay, Master Chief reviewed the mission brief one final time while his team performed last-minute equipment checks. Fireteam composition: Chief, Commander Palmer, Spartans Buck and Locke, plus Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, and Jill Valentine. 7 operators against an entire facility designed to create nightmares. 2 minutes to drop zone, the pilot announced. Chief looked at his team. The Spartans wore standard tactical gear, no MJOLNIR armor to avoid questions about advanced technology. The Raccoon City survivors wore similar equipment but moved with less certainty, still adapting to military operations. Listen up, Chief began. Arkley Laboratory is where the T-virus program started. According to intelligence, it's officially abandoned after the STARS investigation 3 months ago. Reality: Umbrella maintains a skeleton crew for ongoing research. Estimated personnel: 20 scientists, 30 security, and unknown numbers of bioweapons in containment. Roland's holographic avatar appeared on Chief's tactical display, visible only to the Spartans' enhanced vision systems hidden in their equipment. I'm detecting power consumption consistent with active operations. They're definitely running experiments. Primary objective, Chief continued, is intelligence gathering. We need research data, communication logs, personnel files, anything that helps us understand Umbrella's complete network. Secondary objective, destroy all bioweapon samples and research that could be used to restart the program. Tertiary objective, rescue any civilians being held against their will. Rules of engagement? Jill asked. Security forces are hostile combatants. Scientists are detained for questioning when possible, neutralized if necessary. Civilians are non-combatants unless they demonstrate hostile intent. Chief's voice hardened. Bioweapons are terminated on sight without exception. The Pelican flared, hovering above the forest canopy. Ropes deployed. 1 minute insertion, Palmer announced. Fast rope in tactical order. Chief leads, Spartans second, recruits bring up the rear. Move with purpose, maintain noise discipline, and remember, this is a covert infiltration until it isn't. They descended into darkness, boots hitting soft earth with practiced silence. The Pelican disappeared into the night sky, leaving them alone in the Arkley Mountains forest where it had all begun. Chief activated his night vision, civilian grade to maintain the facade, but sufficient for navigation. The forest was dense, oppressively quiet. Nothing moved except wind through trees. "Roland, confirm our bearing," Chief subvocalized. "Facility is 1 kilometer northeast," Roland responded through the encrypted comm. "I'm reading thermal signatures, looks like external security patrols. 3 teams of 2, rotating perimeter coverage." "Copy. Locke, take point with Valentine. She knows this area from the STARS investigation." Jill moved forward confidently despite the darkness. She'd been here before, had fought through this mansion-turned-laboratory, had barely escaped with her life. Coming back felt like returning to a nightmare. But this time, she wasn't alone. This time, she had support that could actually make a difference. They moved through the forest like ghosts, avoiding patrol patterns that Jill recognized and Chief's tactical instincts predicted. 20 minutes of careful approach brought them to the facility's perimeter, an electrified fence mostly hidden by overgrowth, designed to look like property boundary rather than security measure. "Palmer, breach," Chief ordered. Palmer produced a small device that looked like a 1998-era circuit tester but was actually a precisely calibrated EMP emitter. She applied it to the fence at 3 points, creating a 5-foot gap where electricity no longer flowed. "Clear," she whispered. They slipped through, entering the grounds of Arkley Laboratory. The main building loomed ahead, an old mansion that Umbrella had converted into a research facility, maintaining the Gothic facade while hiding cutting-edge bioweapons research beneath. "Entry point?" Chief asked Jill. "Dining room, east side," Jill answered. "There's a service entrance that leads to the kitchen, then down to the underground labs. It's how we escaped last time. Then that's where we enter." Chief signaled the team to move. They reached the dining room entrance without incident. Leon examined the door's lock, then produced picks and went to work. His police training included basic lock manipulation, enough to handle a 1960s-era mansion door. The lock clicked open. They entered a scene from a horror movie, grand dining room with a massive table, portraits on walls, chandeliers casting shadows. But dust covered everything, and the smell of decay permeated the air. "Jesus," Claire whispered, "it's exactly like you described, Jill." "Wait until you see the labs," Jill replied grimly. They moved through the mansion's upper level, avoiding areas that Jill remembered containing traps or bioweapons. But as they descended toward the underground laboratories, it became clear something was different from Jill's previous visit. The labs were active. Fluorescent lights illuminated corridors that should have been dark. Ventilation systems hummed. And through reinforced glass windows, they could see it, rows of containment tanks, each holding something that should not exist. "Contact," Buck whispered, spotting movement ahead. 2 Umbrella security guards rounded a corner, carrying automatic rifles. They saw the infiltration team simultaneously. There was a frozen moment, recognition, calculation, decision. Chief moved first. 2 suppressed shots from his pistol, both headshots. The guards dropped without firing. "So much for stealth," Palmer muttered, already moving to drag the bodies into a side room. Alarms shrieked to life. They had dead man switches, Roland reported. When their heart rates flatlined, it triggered facility-wide alerts. "Chief, you've got 60 seconds before security converges on your position." "Plan B," Chief announced. "We go loud. Locke, Buck, establish a defensive position here. Palmer, you're with the recruits. Get to the server room, extract the data. I'm going to containment to ensure these bioweapons don't escape during the chaos." "Alone?" Claire asked. "I'll be fine," Chief said simply. He handed her a small device, Roland's portable interface. "Get this connected to their main server. Roland will handle the download remotely." You have 15 minutes before security overwhelms your position. Understood? Understood, Jill confirmed, taking tactical command of her group. Palmer, Kennedy, with me. We move fast and quiet until we can't, then we move fast and loud. They split up as boots thundered through corridors, umbrella security responding to the breach. Automatic weapon fire erupted as Buck and Locke engaged the first response team, their superior training and positioning giving them advantage despite being outnumbered. Chief moved deeper into the facility, following Jill's remembered path toward containment. He could hear it now, the sound that haunted every umbrella facility. The groaning of infected. The shrieking of hunters. The sounds of biological nightmares waiting to be unleashed. He checked his weapons, MP5SD with 4 magazines, Glock 19 with 3 magazines, combat knife, 4 fragmentation grenades. Against an entire facility full of bioweapons, it felt inadequate. But Master Chief had fought impossible odds before. He reached the containment level and stopped. The door was already open. Someone had been here first. Through the doorway, he could see movement, but not guards. Something else. Something that moved with predatory grace despite its size. A tyrant. And it had already noticed him. The tyrant stood 10 feet tall in the corridor, its gray flesh gleaming under harsh fluorescent lights. This wasn't the production model from Raccoon City, this was something different. More refined. Its proportions were almost human despite the size, suggesting greater intelligence and control. Designation T-002, according to the placard on its empty containment pod. An early prototype that should have been destroyed months ago. It had been awake for approximately 30 seconds based on the fresh damage to its pod. Someone had released it deliberately. Master Chief raised his MP5SD, knowing even as he did that 9mm rounds would barely scratch this thing. He needed to buy time for Palmer's team to extract the data, which meant keeping this monster away from them. The tyrant moved first, faster than something that size should move. It crossed 20 feet in 2 strides, massive fist sweeping toward Chief's head with enough force to pulverize concrete. Chief dropped and rolled, feeling air pressure from the near miss ruffle his hair. He came up firing, stitching rounds across the tyrant's exposed chest. The creature's heart, grotesquely visible through translucent skin, pulsed with each impact, but the rounds didn't penetrate deep enough to cause critical damage. The tyrant backhanded a medical cart, sending it flying toward Chief like a missile. Chief dove left, the cart exploding against the wall where he'd been standing. Roland, Chief subvocalized while maintaining evasive movement, I need weaknesses. Now. T-002 prototype has reinforced skeletal structure and enhanced cardiovascular system, Roland reported urgently. Standard small arms fire won't penetrate the chest cavity. Vulnerable points, eyes, base of skull, or catastrophic damage to the exposed heart if you can deliver sufficient force. Chief filed that information away while dodging another attack. The tyrant was learning his movement patterns, its attacks becoming more precise with each exchange. He needed to change the battlefield. Chief sprinted down the corridor toward containment storage, the tyrant pursuing with ground-shaking strides. He passed rows of glass-fronted chambers, some empty, others containing horrors in various states of preservation. Umbrella's bioweapon menagerie, all waiting to be studied or sold. An idea formed. Chief grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall, spun, and hurled it at the tyrant's face. The creature batted it aside contemptuously, exactly as Chief had predicted. The extinguisher exploded against a containment chamber, coating the glass with chemical foam and blocking the tyrant's vision for critical seconds. Chief used those seconds to reach the containment control panel. His fingers flew over the interface, guided by tactical instinct and Roland's rapid coaching. If he couldn't kill the tyrant with small arms, maybe he could use Umbrella's own creations against it. He triggered emergency release on chambers 5 through 12. Glass shattered. 8 creatures emerged, hunters, sleek and deadly, engineered killing machines designed for speed and lethality. They took in their surroundings with reptilian intelligence, contained space, large threat, smaller threat. The Tyrant had been designed to command lesser bioweapons. But these hunters were older models, from before Umbrella perfected control mechanisms. They attacked the nearest target, the Tyrant. Chief didn't wait to watch. He sprinted back toward the main corridor as chaos erupted behind him, the Tyrant roaring as multiple hunters swarmed it, talons that could slice steel finding purchase in even reinforced bioweapon hide. "Chief, what the hell was that?" Palmer's voice crackled through his comm. "Containment breach," Chief reported, hearing the sounds of combat echoing through the facility. "I had to release bioweapons to slow down a Tyrant. The hunters will spread through the facility. Consider everything beyond containment level as compromised." "Copy that. We've got the server interface connected. Roland says he needs 8 more minutes for full data extraction." "You don't have 8 minutes, Chief said flatly. He could hear alarms, gunfire, and the distinctive shrieking of hunters finding new prey. "Get what you can and extract. I'll set demolition charges to destroy the facility." "Sir, there might be civilian scientists." "Then find them and get them out," Chief interrupted. "But this facility cannot survive. Whatever research Umbrella's conducting here dies today. Chief out." He moved through the lab complex with Spartan efficiency, placing explosive charges on support columns and fuel storage tanks. Each charge was carefully calculated, not enough to level the building immediately, but enough to ensure complete destruction once triggered. Behind him, the sounds of combat intensified. The hunters had overwhelmed the Tyrant through sheer numbers and were now spreading through the facility, attacking everything that moved. Umbrella security guards fired desperately, their training inadequate against bioweapons designed specifically to counter human tactics. Chief rounded a corner and nearly collided with a scientist, young woman, maybe late 20s, wearing a blood-stained lab coat and carrying research files. "Please," she gasped. "Don't shoot." "I'm not, I didn't want." "Are you armed?" Chief demanded. "No. I'm just a researcher. They told us this was medical research. We didn't know about the bioweapons until it was too late, and then they wouldn't let us leave." A hunter's shriek echoed nearby. "Close. Very close." Chief made a split-second decision. "Come with me if you want to live." "Can you run?" The scientist nodded frantically. "Then run." They sprinted through corridors as the facility descended into chaos. Behind them, a hunter appeared, drawn by movement and sound. It was gaining. These creatures could hit 40 miles per hour in short sprints. Chief pushed the scientist ahead, turned, and opened fire. The MP5SD's suppressed rounds were too weak to kill but enough to irritate. The hunter shrieked and adjusted its trajectory, away from the fleeing scientist and toward Chief. Exactly as planned. Chief led it into a laboratory, using equipment as obstacles. The hunter was fast, but Chief had decades of experience fighting opponents with superior physical abilities. He used terrain, angles, and timing to stay ahead by inches. He grabbed a chemical cylinder, liquid nitrogen for sample storage, and hurled it at the pursuing hunter. The creature batched it aside, but the cylinder ruptured, spraying super-cold liquid across the floor. Chief leapt over the spreading pool. The hunter tried to follow, and its talons, seeking purchase on the suddenly ice-covered floor, slipped. It fell, momentum carrying it forward uncontrollably. Chief emptied his magazine into its exposed neck as it slid past, 9 rounds, point-blank range, concentrated on the vulnerable spot between skull and spine. The hunter crashed into a wall and didn't get up. Chief reloaded, his last magazine, and keyed his comm. "Palmer, status?" "Data extraction at 90%, Palmer reported, gunfire audible in the background. "But we've got multiple hunters converging on our position. Locks holding the corridor but we're running low on ammunition." "Understood. Finish the download and move to the east extraction point. I'm 30 seconds behind you." Chief turned to the scientist who'd pressed herself against a wall, eyes wide with terror. "What's your name?" "Dr. Sarah Chen," she managed. "Virology department. I was researching potential T-virus countermeasures. I swear, I wasn't developing weapons." Later, Chief interrupted. "Right now, follow me exactly. When I say move, you move. When I say stop, you freeze. Understand?" Sarah nodded. They navigated through the facility's death throes. Umbrella security had fallen back to defensive positions, creating choke points to slow the hunter outbreak. Bodies littered corridors, guards torn apart by talons, scientists who'd been in the wrong place when containment failed. Chief led Sarah past the carnage, his tactical awareness tracking threats through sound and movement. A hunter appeared ahead, feeding on a fallen guard. Chief raised his weapon. The hunter looked up, its intelligent eyes meeting his. For a moment, neither moved. Then it went back to feeding, apparently deciding they weren't worth pursuing when easier prey was available. "Move," Chief whispered, and they slipped past while the creature was distracted. They reached the rendezvous point, a service elevator that could reach the mansion's ground floor. Palmer's team was already there, establishing a defensive perimeter. Leon and Claire provided covering fire while Jill helped wounded Umbrella security personnel who'd been smart enough to surrender rather than fight. "Roland says download is complete," Palmer reported. "We've got everything, 40 years of research data, personnel files, facility locations, financial records. This is the mother lode." "Good. Everyone in the elevator. We're leaving." Chief did a quick head count. "Where's Buck?" "Still at the defensive position," Locke answered. "Buying us time. He said he'd catch up." Chief's jaw tightened. Buck was a Spartan, incredibly capable, but even Spartans could be overwhelmed by sufficient numbers. "Locke, get everyone topside. I'm retrieving Buck." "Chief." "That's an order." Chief sprinted back through corridors he'd just cleared, following the sounds of combat. He found Buck exactly where he'd been left, holding a T-junction against 6 hunters simultaneously. The Spartan had transitioned to his backup shotgun after exhausting his primary weapon's ammunition. Each blast sent a hunter staggering, but they kept coming, learning from each engagement. Buck's movements were still economical and precise, but Chief could see fatigue setting in, microseconds of slower reaction time that would prove fatal against these opponents. Chief opened fire, catching 2 hunters from their blind side. They shrieked and turned toward this new threat, dividing their attention. "Took you long enough," Buck shouted, slamming a fresh shell into his shotgun. "Had to make sure everyone else got out," Chief replied, dropping an empty magazine and loading his last one. "Ready to leave?" "Been ready." Buck fired, the blast catching a hunter mid-leap and sending it crashing into its companions. "I assume you have a plan?" "Run very fast," Chief said simply. They broke contact, sprinting back toward the elevator. The hunters pursued, their shrieks echoing through the facility. More appeared from side corridors. The containment breach had released at least 20 of these creatures, and they'd been hunting systematically through every level. Chief and Buck reached the elevator shaft to find the car was already gone. Palmer had taken it up with the others as ordered. But the shaft itself was still accessible, its emergency ladder leading to the surface. "Up," Chief ordered. They climbed with Spartan speed, taking rungs 3 at a time. Below, hunters gathered at the shaft's bottom, intelligent enough to understand their prey had escaped vertically but unable to follow. Their talons, designed for slashing, couldn't grip ladder rungs. For a moment, Chief thought they'd made it clean. Then one hunter demonstrated why Umbrella considered them successful bioweapons. It began climbing the shaft walls themselves, using its talons to find purchase in tiny cracks and imperfections in the concrete. Where there were no holds, it created them, claws gouging deep enough to support its weight. "They can climb walls," Buck observed. "Of course they can climb walls." Buck observed. "Of course they can climb walls." Because regular hunters weren't terrifying enough. Chief looked up, calculating distance. They were halfway up a 300-foot shaft. The hunter was climbing faster than they could, its biomechanical advantages overcoming the human's tactical skills. "Keep climbing," Chief ordered. "I'll slow it down." He hooked one arm through the ladder to stabilize himself, drew his Glock, and aimed downward. The hunter was 70 feet below, ascending rapidly, its movements insectal and wrong. Chief fired. The first shot missed, shooting downward while hanging one-handed threw off even his aim. The second shot grazed the hunter's shoulder. The third caught it in the eye. The creature shrieked and lost its grip, falling into the darkness below. Its body hit the shaft bottom with a wet crunch. But two more hunters had already begun climbing. "Definitely time to go," Buck said. They climbed faster, muscles burning despite Spartan augmentations. The hunters gained steadily, their engineered physiology giving them advantages even supersoldiers couldn't match without armor. Chief's hand reached the shaft's top edge. He pulled himself up into the mansion's ground floor, then immediately turned to help Buck. Behind Buck, a hunter was less than 20 feet away, close enough that Chief could see its talons scraping concrete, could hear its predatory breathing. Buck reached the top. Chief grabbed his arm and hauled him up with enhanced strength. The hunter's talon slashed upward, missing Buck's leg by inches. Chief drew a fragmentation grenade, his last one, pulled the pin, and dropped it down the shaft. Fire in the hole. The explosion in the enclosed shaft was devastating. The climbing hunters fell, their bodies torn by shrapnel in the confined space. More importantly, the blast damaged the shaft's structural integrity, concrete cracking, supports failing. "Move!" Chief ordered, and they ran. Behind them, the elevator shaft collapsed entirely, sealing the underground facility from the mansion proper. It wouldn't stop the hunters permanently, but it would slow them. They burst out of the mansion into pre-dawn light. The Pelican waited in the overgrown courtyard, its engines already spinning up. Palmer stood at the ramp, weapon raised, covering their approach. "Everyone's aboard," she reported. Including 5 Umbrella survivors who chose to defect rather than die. Dr. Chen's already talking, apparently she's got information about other facilities. Chief and Buck boarded, the ramp closing behind them. Through the windows, they could see the mansion, Gothic architecture hiding decades of horror and research. "Charges are set," Chief confirmed. "Roland, detonate." The mansion disappeared in a series of explosions, shaped charges collapsing the structure into its own underground laboratories. Fire consumed what remained, ensuring that any bioweapons still trapped inside would be destroyed. As the Pelican gained altitude, Leon moved to stand beside Chief, watching the facility burn. "That's one down," Leon said quietly. "How many more?" 72, Chief answered. "But we've got their complete network now. We know where they are, what they're researching, who's running them. The war just shifted in our favor." "Doesn't feel like victory," Claire said from her seat, helping bandage Jill's minor injuries. "People died down there. Guards who were just doing their jobs. Scientists who maybe didn't know what they were really working on. Some did," Dr. Chen interjected quietly. "Some of us questioned, tried to refuse assignments, attempted to leave. They wouldn't let us. Said we knew too much. That we were liabilities." She looked at Chief with something like hope. "But if you're really taking down Umbrella, if you can actually stop them, then maybe those deaths mean something. Maybe we can prevent more." Chief nodded slowly. "That's exactly what we're going to do." As the Pelican disappeared into morning sky, Arkley Laboratory burned behind them, the birthplace of the T-virus reduced to ash and rubble. 1 facility destroyed. 72 remained. But now they had something Umbrella didn't expect, complete intelligence on their entire operation, skilled operatives willing to fight, and the determination to see this through to the end. The war against bioterrorism had truly begun. UNSC Infinity, 72 hours after Arkley destruction. Captain Lasky studied the intelligence displays with growing concern. Since destroying Arkley Laboratory, they'd monitored Umbrella's communications carefully, and what they were seeing was troubling. "They're consolidating," Roland reported, his avatar flickering through intercepted transmissions. Umbrella's board of directors held an emergency meeting. They know someone is targeting their facilities systematically. They're pulling back assets, concentrating security, and, he paused. They're accelerating bioweapon deployment to protect high-value installations. "Explain," Lasky ordered. Umbrella's releasing mature bioweapons at 17 key facilities. Hunters, lickers, even a few Tyrant-class units. They're essentially turning their own research stations into fortresses guarded by the very monsters they created. Commander Palmer crossed her arms. "They're making our job harder." "More than that," Roland continued. "I'm detecting increased communication between Umbrella and several government agencies, US, Russia, China, France. They're calling in favors, leveraging their connections. Some of these facilities now have official military protection. They're going legitimate," Lasky said grimly. "Using their government contracts as shields." Master Chief stood silently, processing the tactical situation. Umbrella had adapted faster than anticipated. That suggested high-level intelligence and decisive leadership, someone who understood they were under coordinated attack and was responding appropriately. "Do we have identification on who's coordinating Umbrella's response?" Chief asked. Roland highlighted a personnel file. "Best guess, Oswell E. Spencer, Umbrella's co-founder and primary shareholder. He's been reclusive for years, but communication patterns suggest he's taken direct control of the corporation's security measures." The file showed an elderly man with aristocratic features and cold, calculating eyes. His biography read like a catalogue of wealth and influence, old money, elite education, connections to government and military dating back decades. "Spencer's no fool," Jill Valentine said, entering the briefing room with Leon and Claire. The Raccoon City survivors had been included in strategic planning after proving their value at Arkley. "My brother Chris investigated him before the mansion incident. Spencer's been planning something big for years, something beyond just selling bioweapons." "What kind of something?" Lasky asked. Jill pulled up notes Chris had shared with her. Chris thought Spencer saw bioweapons as tools for reshaping humanity. Not just weapons for profit, but instruments of evolution. He called it forced evolution, using viruses to enhance human capabilities, create a new species superior to baseline humanity. "Transhumanism through bioweapons," Chief said quietly. He'd heard similar philosophies before, from the Covenant, from the Forerunners, from countless species that believed they could improve themselves through artificial means. It rarely ended well. If Spencer's personally directing Umbrella's response, Leon reasoned, then he's scared. "We hurt them at Arkley. Destroyed decades of research. He's consolidating because he knows he's vulnerable. Or he's baiting us," Chief countered. "Making his facilities look fortified while preparing something else. We need more intelligence on Spencer's actual location and immediate plans." "I might be able to help with that," Dr. Chen said, entering the briefing room hesitantly. The rescued virologist had been cooperative, providing detailed information about Umbrella's internal structure. "Spencer maintains a private estate in Europe, the Spencer Mansion. It's separate from Arkley but similar in design. He uses it as a personal research facility and command center when he wants to oversee projects directly." Roland immediately began searching. Found it. Remote location in the Swiss Alps, officially listed as a private residence. But power consumption and supply delivery suggest much more than a mansion. This is a working facility. That's our target, Chief decided. We take down Spencer, and Umbrella loses its head. Without his leadership, the organization fragments. It's not that simple, Palmer argued. Spencer's a high-value target who'll have extensive security. Going after him directly risks major casualties. We're already at war, Chief said flatly. Umbrella's deploying bioweapons to protect their facilities. They're leveraging government connections to shield their operations. Every day we wait, they get stronger and more entrenched. We need to strike decisively. Lasky considered the arguments. What's your proposed operation? Chief turned to the tactical display, already formulating a plan. Two-pronged assault. Team Alpha, Spartans and experienced operators, hits the Spencer mansion directly. We extract Spencer alive if possible, eliminate him if necessary, and secure all intelligence on his personal projects. Team Bravo, remaining forces, simultaneously strikes Umbrella's European headquarters in Paris. We've already hit that location once, they won't expect us to return. While Umbrella focuses on defending Spencer, we get their administrative center. That spreads our forces thin, Palmer observed. It also divides their attention, Chief countered. Umbrella can't reinforce both locations simultaneously. They'll have to choose, protect their founder or protect their headquarters. Either way, we win. Leon raised a hand. What about collateral damage? These operations will be loud, visible. We can't hide this like we did Arkley. We don't hide it, Chief said. We document it. Capture video evidence of bioweapons, Umbrella's security forces, everything that proves what they've been doing. Then we leak it to media worldwide. Even with government connections, Umbrella can't survive public exposure on that scale. Claire smiled slightly. Turn their own weapons against them. I like it. We'll need a media strategy, Jill added. Just releasing footage isn't enough. We need journalists we can trust, outlets that will publish despite pressure from governments and corporations. Leave that to me, Lasky said. We have resources you're not aware of. People who owe us favors, communication channels that can't be traced. Focus on the tactical operation. We'll handle information warfare. Chief nodded. Teams deploy in 24 hours. Spartans, ODSTs, and volunteers from Raccoon City, this is what we've been training for. Questions? Just one, Buck said from the back. When this goes public, when the world learns about Umbrella's bioweapons program, what happens to us? We're using technology from the future. Someone's going to ask questions. We disappear, Chief said simply. We complete the mission, expose Umbrella, and vanish before anyone can investigate too deeply. As far as 1998 knows, we were just another Black Ops unit fighting bioterrorism. And the truth? Buck pressed. Stays classified, Lasky answered. This timeline's humanity isn't ready for knowledge of other universes or future technology. We give them the tools to save themselves, then we leave. The room fell silent as that reality sank in. They were fighting a war they'd never receive credit for, saving a world that would never know they existed. Beats the alternative, Leon finally said. Sitting back and watching Umbrella kill millions. Agreed, Jill added. Claire nodded her support. Chief looked at his assembled team, Spartans who'd fought the Covenant, ODSTs who'd survived countless battles, and civilians turned soldiers who'd walked through hell and emerged determined to fight back. 24 hours, he repeated. Use them to prepare. Check equipment, review tactical plans, get rest. Because once we launch this operation, there's no going back. We're declaring open war on Umbrella Corporation, and they'll respond with everything they have. Good, Palmer said grimly. Let them come. We'll be ready. As the briefing dissolved and teams moved to prepare, Chief remained behind, studying the tactical display. Spencer's mansion, Umbrella's headquarters, dozens of other facilities, all marked in red, all requiring attention. This was larger than any single operation. This was a campaign that would reshape this timeline's future. If they succeeded, they'd prevent decades of bioterrorism, save millions of lives, and ensure that Umbrella's nightmare vision of forced evolution never came to pass. If they failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. Roland's avatar appeared beside him. "Penny for your thoughts." "Calculating odds," Chief admitted. "Spencer survived for decades by being cautious and prepared. He won't be an easy target. You've beaten worse odds." "Usually with full MJOLNIR armor and UNSC support," Chief countered. "Here we're operating with limited resources in hostile territory against an enemy who's had time to prepare. And yet you're still going." Chief's expression hardened with determination. "Because someone has to. Umbrella's proven what they're willing to do. Raccoon City's death toll alone justifies any risk. If stopping them requires putting my life on the line without armor or backup, then that's what I'll do." "That's why you're the chief," Roland said simply. Chief returned his attention to the tactical display, already running through assault scenarios, calculating angles and timing, preparing for a battle that would determine whether Umbrella Corporation survived or fell. 24 hours until war. He intended to make them count. The assault began at midnight with surgical precision. 2 Pelicans approached the mansion through a mountain storm, using weather interference to mask their approach. Lightning illuminated the Gothic structure perched on a cliff face, all towers and stone, looking like something from a Victorian nightmare. Master Chief led Team Alpha out of the first Pelican, fast roping onto the mansion's roof with Palmer, Buck, Locke, and Jill Valentine. Team Bravo, Leon, Claire, and a squad of ODSTs, would breach from ground level 30 seconds later. The roof was slick with rain and ice. Chief moved carefully but quickly toward an access hatch that intelligence suggested led to the upper floors. Behind him, his team stacked up with practiced efficiency. "Breaching," Palmer whispered, placing a shaped charge on the hatch. The explosion was muffled by thunder, perfectly timed. They descended into the mansion's attic, weapons raised, night vision cutting through darkness. Unlike Arkley, this facility was occupied and alert. Umbrella security forces moved through corridors in 2-man teams, professional and prepared. Spencer had known an attack was coming and had fortified accordingly. Chief led his team through the attic toward the main stairwell, moving like ghosts. They encountered their first patrol near the servants' quarters, 2 guards in full tactical gear, carrying automatic rifles. Jill dropped the first with a suppressed headshot. Buck took the second with a knife, killing in silence. They dragged the bodies into a closet and continued. "Ground team is breaching," Leon's voice crackled through the comm. "We've got heavy resistance. At least 20 guards on the ground floor." "Acknowledged," Chief replied. "Draw their attention. We're heading for the upper levels where Spencer should be." The tactical plan was simple. Team Bravo created chaos below, forcing security to respond downward, while Team Alpha struck upward toward Spencer's private quarters. Classic hammer and anvil, adapted for architectural assault. They reached the 3rd floor, Spencer's personal domain according to Dr. Chen's intelligence. The corridor was lined with portraits, expensive artwork, the trappings of aristocratic wealth. But Chief's tactical instincts screamed warnings. "This is too easy," Palmer whispered. "Where's the security?" "Trap," Chief agreed. "They knew we'd come for Spencer. They're waiting." He was proven right seconds later. The corridor's walls rotated, hidden mechanisms activating. Suddenly they were surrounded, not by guards, but by bioweapons. Hunters emerged from concealed compartments, 6 of them, moving with coordinated precision. But these weren't the standard variants. These were improved models, faster, more intelligent, working together with tactical awareness that shouldn't be possible. "Contact!" Buck shouted, opening fire. The hunters scattered, using cover, flanking. One lunged at Locke from the side while another attacked from the front, coordinated assault that forced the Spartan to divide his attention. Chief shot the flanking hunter mid-leap, his rounds catching it in the exposed throat. It crashed down, thrashing. But 2 more immediately moved to fill the gap in their formation. They're working as a unit, Jill observed, backing toward a doorway. Someone's controlling them. Or training them, Palmer countered, switching to her shotgun for closer range. Umbrella's been refining these things for years. This is what they're capable of when properly developed. The fight devolved into brutal close-quarters combat. Chief's knife work was surgical, targeting vulnerable points he'd learned from painful experience. Palmer and Buck provided suppressing fire while Locke physically grappled with a hunter, Spartan strength against bioengineered muscle. Jill proved her worth, her STARS training and Raccoon City experience making her the most efficient hunter-killer in the group. She knew their patterns, their weaknesses, their behavioral tells. Each shot was precise, economical, deadly. They cleared the corridor at the cost of ammunition and minor injuries. Buck took a talon slash across his shoulder, Palmer's vest was shredded by claws, but no one was critically wounded. Spencer's quarters, 20 meters ahead, Chief said, reloading. Expect more resistance. They advanced, weapons raised, every shadow a potential threat. The door to Spencer's private study was ornate mahogany, completely out of place in a bioweapon facility. Chief kicked it open. The room beyond was a library, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, expensive furniture, a fireplace crackling warmly. And sitting in a leather chair, completely calm despite the gunfire echoing through his mansion, was Oswell E. Spencer. He was older than his photographs suggested, mid-70s, thin and aristocratic, wearing an expensive suit. His eyes held the same cold calculation Chief had seen in too many enemy commanders. Master Chief, Spencer said calmly. Yes, I know who you are. Or rather, I know you exist. The mysterious soldier leading attacks on my facilities. Quite impressive, really. Most opposition to Umbrella comes from idealistic fools. You're different. Professional. Military trained. You fight like someone who's done this before. You're under arrest, Chief said flatly. For crimes against humanity, bioterrorism, mass murder. By whose authority? Spencer interrupted. You operate without sanction, without legal standing. You're terrorists yourselves, attacking private property, killing security personnel. In the eyes of the law, I'm the victim. The law won't protect you, Jill said, her voice tight with fury. Not after what you did to Raccoon City. To my teammates. To thousands of innocent people. Spencer's expression didn't change. Raccoon City was, unfortunate. A containment failure. But necessary for data collection. Every outbreak provides valuable research material, infection vectors, mutation patterns, survival rates. The deaths serve the greater purpose. What greater purpose? Chief demanded. Human evolution, Spencer replied, standing slowly. Humanity is stagnant, weak, limited by biological constraints. Viruses offer the key to transcendence, enhanced strength, regeneration, extended lifespan. I've spent 40 years developing the tools to reshape our species. To create something better than baseline humanity. You've created monsters, Palmer spat. I've created the future, Spencer corrected. Unfortunately, you won't live to see it. He pressed a button on his desk. The floor beneath them exploded upward. Something massive emerged from the hidden sublevel, larger than any tyrant they'd encountered. This was T-013, Spencer's personal bodyguard, a bioweapon refined through years of development. 12 feet of enhanced muscle and reinforced bone, wearing tactical armor that protected its few vulnerable points. It moved with horrifying speed for something its size, massive fist catching Locke centermass and sending the Spartan flying through a bookshelf. Kill them, Spencer ordered calmly, moving toward a hidden exit. Buck, Palmer, stop Spencer. Chief ordered. Locke, Jill, with me. We take this thing down. The room erupted into chaos. Buck and Palmer pursued Spencer while Chief, Locke, and Jill engaged the super tyrant. Standard tactics weren't working. The creature had learned from every previous Tyrant's failures, had armor protecting its heart, moved too fast to establish firing positions. Chief switched strategies. Lock, left flank. Jill, suppressing fire. I'm going for its eyes. He sprinted forward, sliding beneath a sweeping fist, coming up inside the creature's guard. His knife found the armored plates covering its heart, useless there. But the eyes were still vulnerable. Chief drove his blade into the tyrant's left eye. It screamed, a sound that shook the mansion's foundations, and grabbed Chief with both hands, beginning to crush him with strength that could bend steel. Locke fired his remaining magazine into the creature's exposed back, targeting the spine. Jill added her fire, aiming for the same vulnerable spots. The tyrant's grip weakened. Chief wrenched his blade free and drove it into the second eye, blinding the creature completely. It released him, staggering, trying to locate enemies by sound and movement alone. But now it was vulnerable. Grenades! Chief ordered. Everyone, now! 3 fragmentation grenades sailed through the air, landing at the tyrant's feet. The explosions tore through already wounded tissue, severing legs, collapsing the massive bioweapon. It fell, still alive, still dangerous, but immobilized. Finish it, Chief said. Locke put his last 3 rounds through the base of the tyrant's skull, into its brain. The creature finally stopped moving. Chief keyed his comm, Buck, Palmer, status. Spencer's escaping through a tunnel system, Buck reported. Following now, but he's got a head start. Keep pursuing. We're right behind you. They ran through the hidden passage, following the sounds of Spencer's flight deeper into the mountain. The tunnel eventually opened into a helicopter hangar, a private escape route carved into the cliff face. Spencer was already boarding a helicopter, its rotors beginning to spin up. Buck and Palmer opened fire, but the aircraft was armored, rounds sparking harmlessly off reinforced plating. Chief saw their window closing. Made a split-second decision. He sprinted forward, using his Spartan speed to close the distance. As the helicopter lifted off, he leaped, grabbing the landing skid. Chief! Palmer shouted. He hung on as the helicopter gained altitude, wind tearing at him, the ground falling away hundreds of feet below. Through the aircraft's window, he could see Spencer's shocked face. The pilot tried to shake him loose, the helicopter banking hard. But Chief's grip was enhanced by years of augmentation and decades of experience. He pulled himself up, smashed through the side window with his elbow, and pointed his pistol at Spencer's head. Land! Now, Chief ordered. The pilot hesitated. Spencer simply smiled. You won't shoot me, Spencer said confidently. You need me alive for intelligence, for testimony, for justice. Without me, you have no proof of Umbrella's crimes. Wrong, Chief said. He pulled a small device from his vest, Roland's recording unit, active for the entire conversation. We have your confession. Your admission of guilt. Your acknowledgement of Raccoon City's deaths as necessary for research. That's enough. Spencer's confidence finally cracked. The pilot, seeing no other option, began descending. They landed on the mansion's front lawn where Team Bravo had secured the perimeter. Leon and Claire stood among unconscious Umbrella security forces, having fought through the ground floor defenders. Chief dragged Spencer from the helicopter, forcing him to his knees. Oswell E. Spencer, Chief said formally, you're under arrest for crimes against humanity. You have the right to. I have no rights you can enforce, Spencer interrupted bitterly. Your entire operation is illegal. Any evidence you've gathered is inadmissible. I have lawyers, politicians, judges, you can't touch me through legitimate channels. You're right, Chief agreed. Which is why we're not using legitimate channels. He nodded to Roland, monitoring from orbit. Release everything. Across the globe, every major media outlet simultaneously received a data package, 40 years of Umbrella's research files, evidence of bioweapon development, financial records proving government officials on Umbrella's payroll, and video of Spencer's confession, all irrefutably authenticated. Within minutes, the story began breaking worldwide. News channels interrupted regular programming. Websites crashed from traffic. Social media exploded with outrage. Umbrella Corporation's secrets were no longer secret. Spencer's face went pale as he realized what had happened. "You've destroyed me." "No," Chief said quietly. "You destroyed yourself. We just made sure the world found out." As police sirens approached, legitimate law enforcement finally able to act with evidence too public to suppress, Chief's team melted into the darkness. Their war with Umbrella wasn't over. But tonight, they'd cut off the head of the serpent. The rest would follow. 6 months later, Umbrella Corporation collapsed under the weight of public exposure. Governments worldwide launched investigations. Executives were arrested. Facilities were seized and shut down. The bioweapons threat wasn't eliminated, too much research had escaped into the black market, but the largest source was destroyed. Master Chief stood on the Infinity's bridge, watching repairs to the slipspace drive near completion. Soon they'd be able to go home, back to their own time and universe. Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, and Jill Valentine stood with him, having come to say goodbye. "We never knew your real names," Leon said. "Never learned where you came from or how you had the technology you did." "Some secrets need to stay secret," Chief replied. "Will we see you again?" Claire asked. Chief shook his head. "This is your world now. Your fight. We gave you the tools, use them well." As the Infinity prepared for departure, Chief took one last look at Earth below. A world saved from a threat they'd never fully understand was stopped. But saved nonetheless. And that was enough.